In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the debugger in IntelliJ to more easily find bugs, but also dive into what's happening behind the scenes, which is especially useful if you're looking at libraries or using code you haven't actually created yourself. In this case, I have a small snippet where I've created a snake case converter that's going to create a given string into snake case. We start by taking this string over here, then cast it to lowercase or convert it to lowercase, and then we split it with the space. In this case, we actually have an issue because this one has two spaces. We're going to handle this with this part over here where we check if it's empty. So how do we do this when we want to debug? Well, in IntelliJ we can click next to the line numbers. In this case I'm just going to click 6 and this will add this little red dot. It will also indicate that this line is now ready for debugging. Right now, instead of clicking play, we're going to click the play icon. I'm going to click on this little bug icon instead, which will start in debug mode. At this point, you'll see that it stopped at its line, and we can also see that it's actually just going to keep staying here until we choose to go any further. Right now, we can look at all the variables that are in play. It says we have the arguments variables, which we can see up here, but it's of course empty because we haven't passed anything. If you look down in this window, we can also see that we have some buttons over here. For now, I'm just going to go into these two methods. If we start out by the step over method, it just says, or it just lets you go to the next line. So in this case, if I click the step over, it's going to go down to the next line. What's nice with IntelliJ is that you can see a live view of what's actually inside this variable. In this case, it says convert this to snake case. This is really nice in other cases where you actually don't know exactly what this is going to be, if it's passed from some function or something else. We're going to keep going. We now have an instance of the string builder. The string builder has a toString method, which we can see here, and it's of course going to be empty because we haven't done anything. If we look down into the variables part here, we can also see that they have now been declared, and we can actually view information about this right now. You can also look further into this by clicking this. It works like a small tree structure, but I'm not going to go into this too much right now. I'm going to click F8 again to go to the next line, and we'll see that we now have a new variable down here that says parts. You can also live see what's inside it right here, or at least get some kind of preview. IntelliJ won't show you all of it, but you can at least say this or see that it has convert this, and then we see that we have one empty space, and that's because, or it's just double quotes actually, and that's because of this part over here, and we don't want that in our code, or at least not the output. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into this loop. And we just keep clicking F8 until we've gone through everything. And we'll see we've now hit this part where it's empty, and we're going to just continue because we don't want to deal with that. And there we go. We've successfully gone through the entire code snippet and converted this to snake case while using the debugger. So the thing is, you probably don't want to go through all of the code all the time. So what you can do instead is you want to say, well, I'm only interested in this part. So you click down here and we click debug again. This is going to stop down here, and instead of clicking F8, I can instead of clicking the step over method, we can click on the resume button. This will zoom until a new breakpoint has been hit. So if I click this again, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to go through the for loop once again because we're only at index 0, and we're going to hit this again, and at this point it's going to stop again because we hit it. So we can see now we've hit it again. We're at the second, we are at the second iteration, which is number 1, and we can now begin to see what's happening with our code. So this also gives us a live idea of how it's going to be structured, and it lets us more easily view if something is going wrong more easily in the process, or where it's gone wrong. It's a nice learning tool if you don't know exactly what's happening. Like I said, I'm just gonna click F9 again, and we'll see. This is just bit by bit piecing this together. And if we look over here, voila. What we can also do is that we can add conditions to this. So if I add this breakpoint over here, I can right click on it, and I can say I only want to stop if I is equal to 3. I'm going to click again, and we'll now see that it stopped because I is equal to 3. We can also use more complex logic over here. We can say I only want to stop if I modulo 2 is equal to 0. This just means we only want to stop when it's even. I'm going to start again, and we'll see it stopped at 0. I'm going to press F9, 2, 4, and so on forth. This is really nice if you have a lot of loops and you don't care for most of them. You also have the option to click over here, and you can add a pass count, which stops after you've been after it's been hit X amount of times. Lastly, I'm just going to introduce you real quick to this section again, where you can actually add variables. So in this case, if you want to view exactly what's inside parts I, it's already doing this at this point, but you can do it by yourself. Sometimes you may also want to say, for example, what if we want to know if this is empty right away? So I'm going to say parts. I'm going to get the part we're currently in and ask if it's empty. And we can say right away, no, it's not empty. If I keep going, it's going to go through this and say, I'll give you a live idea of what's happening, like I said. Lastly, I'm going to extract this function so we can use the step into method. The step into method in the debugger is really nice because it allows you to go into code snippets or methods that's further into the application. So in this case, I'm just going to create a new method where you can extract this method to. We'll create a public static string convert to snake case, and we'll take a sentence as the input. We'll then move this down here. We're going to say this is the sentence we want to convert, and we want to return converted. And we'll of course say toString because it's a string method. Over here, we'll create a new string called converted. We'll use the method we just created, convert to snake case, conversion. And then down here we can use converted again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just remove it again and create a new one. I'm going to click the debugger and we'll stop at this line again. What I'm going to do now instead is I'm going to go into or step into the function. So instead of pressing F8 or clicking on this step over method, we're going to press F7, which lets us step into this method. So instead, like I said, we're going to go into this method instead of just going to the next line. What we can see here is that we've gone into this, and you can use this to even go through the Java documentation if you want to know what's happening. So if I press F8 again, we'll see, we'll go to this line, and I can now press F7 if I want to see what's happening. Well, and we, for example, convert to lowercase. That could be interesting. I'm going to press F7, and you'll see that IntelliJ is asking if you want to go into the lowercase to lowercase method or the split method. You can use the arrow keys to choose which one, and then just press F7 again. And here we have the implementation that they're using. If we want to go out at some point, we can just press this button over here that says step out, and we'll be right back where we came. And then we can then again click the play button to resume the code. I hope this has given you a better idea of how you can use a debugger to more easily understand code, but also maybe find your bugs more easily when they do occur.